Peace everyone, Unmask Art here and welcome back to Inktober. This is Inktober day 29, so we're down to the last three. Today I decided to keep it a little simple, so nothing too complex. You can pretty much see that I have it all drawn out already. I'm going to do some inking, I'm going to use some markers. You'll see what I have in store for this piece. It'll be fun. It'll be cool in the end, so don't worry. Let's go ahead and get started looking at some of the pieces that you guys sent me. So the first one here is from Abigail. Sorry that went by so quickly. We'll look at it when it comes back around. Here's another one. I believe she did this one for boat. I liked this idea for boat. Very cool idea, paper boat. Here is one from Naomi. I really liked this one. A lot of detail went into this snail here. So cool, great texture. Here's another one that she did for the ship prompt. I accidentally forgot to share this one, so here it is. Here's another one from Naomi, again with these extremely detailed texturized ink drawings. It's just so crazy. They're really good. Thank you for sharing them. Here's a Climb by David. As you can see, a silhouette with the lovely night sky and stars behind. Here is another one from David. I think this might be from a TV show, but I'm not 100% certain. Looks cool though. I like the colors. Here's one from David as well. I believe this one might be for fall, but it's really cool. The silhouette of the deer with kind of the starry red landscape in the back. Here's one from Diane for Climb, also very cool. Love the sloth, it's super adorable. Here is another one. I love the little nugget in the life raft in the back. Makes me laugh every time I look at it. Here's one from Romar and his Godzilla for Giant, I believe. Very cool. I love the contrast in this one. Here's one from Renata and dog chasing a duck or a swan, one of those two. Kind of funny. Here's another one that she did. I love the purple and yellow kind of sunrise sky in the back. And then here's one from Stephanie, very comic book like. I loved all the dark black ink in the back. Really makes the characters stand off the page. Here's another one she did of the Guardians of the Galaxy. You got Groot and Baby Groot, and I forget that guy's name, but yeah, one of my favorite movies for sure. Here is another really contrasted one that I liked. I think this might be Transformers, but I could be mistaking. Here's one from Abigail. I believe this is for United. Apparently Nugget found a girlfriend. And then again, back to that piece by Abigail. Alright, so that is all the drawings that I have for today. Thank you all so much for sharing those with me. Make sure that you continue to share them with me by sending me a message over on Facebook. I won't be sharing any tomorrow, but Tuesday is the last day of Inktober. I can't believe I've made it all the way through. I'm super tired right now. I don't know if you can tell, but I just want to take a nap, and I never want to take a nap. I can't stand naps, but I'm just so exhausted. I'm ready for Inktober to finally be complete. So make sure you send me your Inktober pieces soon, because Tuesday will be the last day that I share your guys' Inktober pieces. So make sure you get those over to me, because I'd hate to miss out on them. And do it as early as you can too. Let's see. Hello, Price Line, Hilda, Anastasia, Jennifer, Susan, Christy, Stephen, Carter, Gihan, Effichini, and I think that's it. Hello everyone. Brenda, I'm glad you guys made it to the live stream. There's only a few left, so yeah, I'm glad that you guys were able to come. Tomorrow's live stream, unfortunately, is going to have to be a bit early in the day, since I have my Polish class tomorrow evening. But Tuesday, I'm gonna try to hold off until about 1700 my time. That way, everybody gets, you know, a little bit better chance of catching the live stream. So I hope everybody is having a good weekend so far. My weekend is it's pretty busy with Inktober. Other than that, it's kind of calm and slow, I guess. The weather is really beating down on us today. The wind has been going absolutely crazy, and it's been raining on and off all day. It can't decide whether or not it's just going to keep raining or stop raining. The sun came out a little bit earlier today as well, and then it quickly got covered again by rain clouds. Let's see. Hello, David. Welcome. I just showed your piece, or your pieces, so hopefully you caught that. So you guys have to let me know what you are working on for today's prompt. Today's prompt is United. And what I had decided to do with today's prompt is kind of go with music, because there's that saying that you know, the universal language is music. And so I thought, what more united can people be than under the umbrella of music? It seems to just, you know, be a good idea for today's prompt. So I'm gonna have this girl with headphones on, with, you know, some scroll music, sheet music in the back. Nothing too complicated, quite a simplistic drawing, but fun nonetheless. And I'm going to do a little bit of markers, a little bit of color in here. I'm just doing the outline for now, so you'll see what happens in a little while. You'll get the full scale of the drawing. Hello, Grammy School. Glad to see you here. And Cheryl. Cheryl, you just joined the Unmask Family Facebook group. Thank you. Glad you felt compelled to come over and join the family. If anybody else is interested in joining the Unmask family, I do have the link to that in the description. Inktober has, goodness, it has really been a drain on my creative capacity, but very good challenge. For my first year participating in Inktober, I can easily say I underestimated what this challenge was going to do to me. So I appreciate everybody that's come by and hung out throughout the month, made time for these live streams. I know I didn't make it too easy to show up, but hopefully you guys found it okay to make some time for it. And I appreciate you coming by and hanging out, chatting, being supportive throughout the month. It's been super great. You're doing the flag for the United, saying United we stand. Oh, okay, that's a good idea, Brenda. You're doing poppies. Huh. I guess that one goes over my head. Andrella, hello. Music, it is the language that the world understands. Yes, indeed. Hello, Ziddy. I don't know if I've seen you in the live stream before, so welcome. And Taiko, good morning to you as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to tag me in the comments and ask away. I don't really have anything new going on today to really talk about. I'm not sure if I have any stories, so if you guys have some questions, I would be more than grateful to answer some, because I'm a little lost for words today. Like I said, Inktober has been really draining me, so I'm pretty much all talked out for the month of October. Hello, Riss. Welcome back to the live stream. Today's idea, let's see, how did I think I may have come up with it yesterday. I think I was, just wandering about trying to think of what to do for United, and I'd come up with an idea for tomorrow's prompt. Tomorrow's prompt is found, and with a little help from Wendy, I was able to fully visualize the idea that I wanted to do. And yeah, so if you guys have any ideas for tomorrow's prompt, let me know what you're thinking. I'd love to hear what your ideas are for the last couple days of Inktober. Always nice to throw around some ideas. What is happening for next month? Oh, that's a good question. So for next month, obviously Inktober will be complete, but no worries, I'm still going to be streaming on YouTube, just not every day, but you'll see me at least once a week. You'll see me streaming on YouTube, and maybe even twice a week. I'd like to bump it up to twice a week, but I still have other projects that I really want to try to focus on. So other than that, yeah, I also stream over on Patreon, so if you really want to support my streaming, you can always join me over on Patreon. I stream every week over there as well. So between YouTube and Patreon, you could catch me streaming minimally 2 times a week and potentially 3. Although next week I will be streaming a little extra over on Patreon to finish up a portrait that I've been maybe spending a little bit too much time on. So I'm going to be trying to finish that portrait up in colored pencils over on Patreon next week, but I don't know, it's kind of looking like it might not exactly happen, but I'm going to do my best for sure. Let's see, did everyone see the Nugget Halloween costume? Yeah, I did see that, Brenda. It was hilarious. Hello, Kalia. No, I've not made it, only at the end of a couple times. I watched them after nonetheless. Oh, okay, Ziddy. Well, I'm glad you were able to make today's. Doing a vegan biting a cow for United. Stephen, you're just too ridiculous. I love your pictures so far. Thank you so much, Grammy. What's tomorrow's prompt? Yes, tomorrow's prompt is found. I figured I'd try and catch your stream while I wait for my naan and pretzel dough rise. Okay, that sounds good. I'm glad you decided to come over to the stream. Hello, Lady Shallow. Lady Shadow, good morning to you. And Erica, good to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning to come hang out and watch the stream. The fact that you guys choose to spend time watching me is very humbling, I have to say. I greatly appreciate the time that you guys dedicate to me working and drawing. I'm glad to be of such an entertainment value to you guys that you come over to hang out and chat. It's a very nice feeling for sure. The reason why I'm doing poppies is because everyone is united. I am remembering the people who died in the world walls. I must be missing something there, David, because I still don't quite understand it. Thank you, Susan. I'm glad you like the idea. So found tomorrow, I'd play around the phrase we have in Italy, who finds a friend finds a treasure. Oh, I like that phrase. So maybe two kids playing, discovering something together. That's a really nice phrase. I like it. I am really rad to watch. I like that you describe me as rad. There's not too many people that use such cool words.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the word rad. In fact, the Rad is one of my favorite movies from the 80s. So if you've never seen the movie Rad, you need to try to find it. It's expensive to buy because it's a fairly rare movie to find on VHS, but it is so worth it. I think like a mint condition Rad movie on VHS runs about $100 or so if you have the actual movie and the original box that it come in. But you should be able to find the movie on like Netflix or something like that. I can't imagine that the movie doesn't exist on one of those streaming platforms. It has to. It's just too good of a movie. It's a bit cheesy, like, you know, most 80s movies, but it's just so fun to watch. It's a total underdog movie, and yeah, it's just fun. I mean, all the good movies were made in the 80s anyway, so. I'm going to do a Where's Wally kind of thing for tomorrow's prompt. Oh, that sounds cool. I like that idea. I didn't think of that Where's Waldo type idea. I think this will be my favorite work you've done so far. I love the sketch. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to completing it and see what you think of my fully fleshed out idea here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like it as well. I'm doing a few of my favorite type of subjects a little bit, and you'll see once I get into the color what the real plan here is, because right now it's a little hidden, I guess you could say, a little obscure. But so getting to your question, David, what is my favorite music? We've kind of had this subject before, but my favorite music is metal, and I was rocking out to some metal while I was getting prepared for the stream today. Gets me in the mood to draw. Specifically, I was listening to Periphery's new album, Selected Difficulty number 3. There's this song on there, so look up Periphery, you know, like peripheral vision, so it's spelled the same, but it's Periphery with a Y, if you don't know them. And look up the song Loon, like lunar, like the moon, loon, with an E at the end. I think you guys will probably enjoy that song. I really like that song. It's much more of a softer song, it's more of a ballad, I guess, that they've done, but the singing and just the composition of that song is just so fantastic. So fantastic. I think you guys might enjoy listening to that song. I'd totally play it for you right now if I could, but obviously it's copyrighted and I don't want to get a copyright strike on my live stream. You also like the word gnarly, lady shadow. You are just you know the right words to say, that is for sure. Gnarly and rad, that is two of my all-time favorite words for sure. That and marshmallow. I like marshmallow for some reason. It just feels good to say marshmallow, even though I don't eat marshmallows because they're not vegan. You can find vegan marshmallows, but they're tough to find. Let's see. So that's how you describe. That's how you describe my drawing as gnarly. Well, that's very rad of you. You guys will have to let me know if you look up that Periphery song and have a listen to it. You have to give me your thoughts on it. I can assure you it won't bother me if you take a quick break from the stream and jump over to the Periphery YouTube channel and check out that song. I think you'll enjoy it. And then you can come back and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of the singing, because the singing is just so soothing to listen to. Ironically coming from a metal band, but the singer of Periphery is one of my all-time favorite singers for sure. Spencer Sotelo. He just, in the words of Periphery, he has the voice of an angel that comes down like an ox. Because when he does his more screaming vocals, he's also very good at doing that, but he does clean vocals as well. For those of you not really into heavy or metal music, his clean vocals are just spectacular to listen to. Although that spectacular doesn't make sense since it's a visual thing, but you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm putting down, I think. Has anyone heard pentonics? You know, that sounds really familiar. Excuse my ignorance, but what does gnarly mean? So gnarly is actually a way to describe a tree, actually, because the way like trees go gnarl, it comes from the word gnarl, which means like lumpy and twisted, and it's just a slang way of saying something's really cool. It's one of those words that was taken way out of context to describe something that it doesn't actually describe. I mean, if you want to get really, really specific about it. But it comes from the word gnarl, which is to be twisted and lumpy, like a tree. Because you would describe a tree's branch as being like that tree's branch is gnarled, which means it's, you know, it's twisted and distorted. Yeah, so hopefully that clears that up. You like Linkin Park? Yeah, I used to listen to a lot of Linkin Park as well. Not so much anymore. I like some singers, but I pick my faves for sure. Yeah. Oh, hello, Wendy. Yeah, you have some catching up to do for sure, Wendy. I haven't seen an Inktober piece from you for a while. Yes, twisted in a good way. Alright, let's see here. I'm just about done with this line work. I'm going to go ahead and do the music notes, but I'm just going to use a thicker pen, because I don't really want the line work here to show up as much, and you'll find out why once I pick up my markers. But up here the music notes and stuff are just going to be black, so I'm going to just keep it simple. Try to make these lines as clean as I can. Takes a bit of concentration. All right. So it seems a few of you have some music taste in common with each other. I've never heard of the pentatonics. I've never heard of that before. I don't know whether it's a band or it's a song.
You don't know if it's a band or a song.
Oh.
Me neither.
Commission takes precedence, hoping to finish today so I can catch up on Inktober. Yeah. Commissions do take priority for sure over obscure internet drawing challenges. It's a group. Yeah, I'll have to look them up. Do you think the last couple of days have been hard to think of ideas for Inktober? You know, it feels kind of like it has been hard, but at the same time, I've come up with ideas relatively quickly, I guess. I suppose maybe it was more the stress of trying to come up with the last few ideas that made it feel like it may have been harder than before. But now that I think about it, since I have my ideas for today thought up, obviously, and my idea for tomorrow, I have that idea. Like I can almost picture exactly the way that I want to have it in my head, and tomorrow morning I'll just get up and start sketching it in Photoshop, and then work out, you know, all the kinks of the composition of it, and I'll have my idea, and that's that. It will be fleshed out. I'm still a bit unsure as to what I'm going to do for the final day, which is mask. Maybe I'll just totally do a cop-out and do a self-portrait. I don't know. You guys will have to you guys will have to give me your input on that potential idea. I kind of feel like I'm cheating a bit if I do something so obvious. Of course, you know, it's not so obvious to the rest of the artists in the world that will be participating in Inktober, since they probably aren't aware of my channel. But for me, it just seems like the obvious choice given my artistic pseudonym. But I suppose I could do some kind of inked portrait of myself, or a cartoon version of myself. I've done that plenty of times. Done a few chibis of myself, so I don't know. just a thought. It's just a thought. Probably hope for a better idea, but if I can't come up with something, then maybe that will just be the way I celebrate the final day of Inktober, is just by drawing myself. Let's see. It is a group. You have to look them up. Oh yeah, I totally missed that, I think, or read it twice. Yeah, I did. I know there is someone who comes in from Russia. Are they here now? Oh, they're a Capella group. Oh, that's interesting. Hello, Gogo-kun. You're not dumb if you don't know what pyrography is. Pyrography is the art of like burning or wood burning into an image into wood. Usually wood, but some people do it on like real thick paper, watercolor paper. There's pyrography tools. Essentially, it's a pen that you plug in and the tip gets really hot, and you can change different tips for different textures and things like that. I actually did a little bit of pyrography a long time ago. I got a pyrography kit and did a few time lapses plus a review of the gosh, what was it? I don't even remember what it's called, but I remembered I was really excited when I posted the review, because the company thanked me for doing the review, and I was like, oh, that's sweet. I got noticed by a big old company that makes pyrography equipment, and yeah, that was the extent of that pyrography experience. I didn't stick with it too long. It was just one of those things that I wanted to try, and I did, and I was like, yeah, sure, okay. You can get like expensive pyrography tools where you can really control the temperature of your tool, your burning tool, which makes it a lot better to do pieces with, because you can actually shade, because you can, you know, burn at a cooler temperature, giving you a lot more flexibility with the values that you can actually create in the wood. And so the tool that I was using was super basic, very entry level and cheap, and so it only burned like extremely hot, so hot in fact that it kind of hurt your hand a little bit, but it was tolerable at the very least. And so I wasn't able to shade as perfect as I would have liked to. I would have preferred to have a bit more control over the heat when I did it, but it was still fun and interesting to do. It makes your hands sweaty, that is for sure. Let's see, what else did I miss here? I've been rambling on for a while. Let's see. Self-portrait would be great, maybe with some reference to your Inktober work. Have a person taking off a happy mask with their face being sad or depressed, people wearing a mask and not showing their true feelings. You should do a self-portrait wearing a slug nugget mask. Let's see. Yeah, you and Nugget self-portrait. Thank you for showing my Godzilla. I just saw it. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, it was very good. I was glad to share it with everyone. I see you guys noticed that my wife joined the chat. She's creeping on all of you guys. That's what she does best.
This is my Canson. Stop revealing my secrets. Okay?
I'm going to try to finish up these lines really quick, and then I can start coloring. That's where things are going to get nice and interesting. I thought that I was going to just fill in this treble clef with black, but now that I left it cleanly outlined, I'm actually not going to. I'm gonna color it the same way I'm gonna color this part of the drawing. So that was a little bit of a happy accident, in the infamous words of Bob Ross. So hopefully that accident pays off. I kind of messed up this line right here. Oh well, it still looks okay. Getting these smooth, consistent curved lines is tough on top of this sketchbook with it being raised up. I don't have a really solid platform to place my hand, but I think I'm getting it okay. After I finish these lines, I'll erase my excess graphite, and then the way that I'm going to do this, I might actually, I'm going to outline the headphones a bit actually right now, because I want them to stand off the page a little bit. I want it to be really obvious that they're headphones. So I'm going to add a little bit of weight to the line there. And I will fill in my music notes. I will indeed fill in my music notes with black. But let me add a bit of weight to this outline of the headphones first. There we go. That's better. I think that will help the headphones stand off the page later on in the drawing. Once I get everything colored in, it will look much better. But let me first get off this graphite. Still be watching, but you need to grill your bread. Okay, well you grill away. Don't burn yourself. My drawing looks exons. Yeah, I'm not sure I know what that word is, but I hope it's positive. I have this image in my head of how I want my drawing today to look. So I hope it turns out great, because I love the message behind it. Well, I hope it turns out great too, and I'm sure it will if you just take your time, and it will turn out quite nicely, I'm sure of it. And I look forward to seeing it. So when you're done, make sure you send it to me over on Facebook so I can share it on the live stream so everybody can have a look at it. eraser's getting real long from rolling it on the page. There we go. I'll just use the ink to fill in my notes here, and then I will start coloring. So let me grab, I'll just grab my Mangaka pen. That will let me fill in this a bit quicker. There we go, nice and easy. I love these Mangaka brush pens. They're just so great. They're so nice for filling in, you know, medium-sized portions with black without having to, you know, grab bottled ink and a brush. And you have so much control, because they're a bit stiffer than what you'd get with a brush. So they're a little bit easier to handle. Unfortunately, I don't have a Facebook. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's too bad. Well, you know, I will give you permission to email it to me. If you want to email me, you know, maybe 3 or 4 of your favorite pieces, then I will gladly take the time to take those out of the email and prepare them for Tuesday's live stream. I'd love to see some of your work that you've completed over this Inktober month. I was unaware that you didn't have a Facebook. I probably would have, you know, told you earlier to at least email me a few of your pieces. So if you don't have my email, you can find it. You can find it 2 ways. You can go over to my About page on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Or you can click on the link to my website, get my email off my website, but it's fairly easy. It's just theartist@unmaskart.com. All one word, theartist. And yeah, you can send me an email. Now, I don't want everybody to do this. Just if you don't have a Facebook page, then, you know, I'd love to share some more work for Tuesday. If I haven't gotten to share some of your work and you can't send it to me via Facebook, then by all means, please email it to me. There we go. I think that works. So now it's on to colors. So let me grab some of my colors here. As you can see, I'm working with 5 colors. Some blues, a little bit of purple, and a black. That probably gives you a good idea of what I'm going to be doing here. Yeah, I've been really enjoying seeing everybody's work too. So I love the opportunity to collect so much of your work and share it. Yeah, I can understand that, Cheryl. It's been so busy for me to do Inktober, and the fact that I do this for a living and still struggle. Oops, I almost forgot. I need to add some paper on the back so I don't bleed through to the next page. It's been difficult for me to even manage the time to do these daily Inktober live streams because it's just so exhausting. But fortunately, I've been able to do it every single day. No major hiccups, except that one day where my microphone was strangely not working, and I had to kind of restart the stream, but fortunately everybody stuck around for that and managed to make it to the next one. And no more computer technical difficulties or anything like that. Now I adamantly check and recheck my microphone before each stream to make sure that doesn't happen again, because I still have no idea why it happened. This is probably going to look slightly random for a little bit with these colors, but bear with me, it will make sense in the end, I can assure you. Just got done with your United. Oh, that's cool. You're ahead of the game then. I look forward to seeing your United piece. Alright, I think that's enough of that blue. Let's switch to something a little bit darker. Maybe I should have drawn these lines with a thicker pen, because it would have been a bit easier to stay in the lines than with the marker. Because these markers want to feather out a lot, so they might actually creep beyond the inked line if I try to put too much of it too close to the line. So can you guys tell what I'm trying to do here yet? It's still very early on in the plan of what is happening here, but I'm sure that a few of you probably are going to start recognizing what's happening with this drawing. Just by the kind of random nature in which I'm coloring it. I can imagine that you guys will think of a few things as to what I'm doing with this, but it will start to become clearer and clearer as I progress through my colors. What is everyone's idea for United? Well, we had a few people, I think, draw flag, or maybe just one, but I don't know if we've heard too much. I know that Abigail drew Nugget and Nugget Girlfriend, I guess. Nugget and Nugget. I want to know how I got today's idea. Looks interesting. Well, the way that I got today's idea was the expression that music is the universal language, and so the idea kind of came to me based on that phrase, based on that idea or philosophy, whatever you want to call it. And I guess I think of it, you know, since music is the universal language, I feel like it's something that can unite people, unite everyone together, you know, because you go to a concert or whatever, and you know there's just thousands of people there, or hundreds of people, or tens of thousands, depending on the popularity of whoever you're going to go see, and they can all just be there together listening. Oh goodness, I'm going to sneeze. Oh. I thought that I was going to get all the way through Inktober and not sneeze once on camera, but I just failed. I was so close, so close. Yeah. But anyways, so you got thousands of people together to listen to music, and you know, everyone's going to be different politically or, you know, religiously, but they're just there to listen to the music. And so that's why I chose to do kind of a music idea or theme for today's Inktober prompt, because I just felt like it was a unifying force, and I think many people would probably agree with that that sentiment, that regard to music. Thank you, Brenda. Oh, hello, Wilhelm. It's been quite some time. Yes, it has definitely been a while. You made it just in time to hear me sneeze. Alright, I think I can leave that. I'll just work around this lighter blue a little bit. This piece probably won't take too much longer, to be honest with you. Once I get my markers down, you'll get a much better idea of what it is I'm creating here. Make the picture pop out a lot better as well. I kind of just chose these colors at random too, so I'm not even sure how well they're going to go together. But I liked them, and so I snatched them up and just decided to go with these blues, kind of turquoise greenish color, and I have this darker blue, and then I have this kind of a brightish, like vibrant purple violet color. Can't wait for me to try out watercolors, huh? Oh, hello, Vicky. And Anna, welcome. Is the blue to represent sound waves? No, it is not. Although maybe it does. I did not consider that in my color choice. I simply chose colors that I liked off my color chart. Alright, I think that's good for the blue. So let's switch to the darker blue now. And just come in here, scribble some of this darker blue. Oh no, you know what? I think this might be my driest marker. Yeah, this marker is getting pretty dried out, it looks like. I think it will still work a little bit. Maybe I just got to be a little bit slower using it. Yeah, see how that looks kind of dry like that? Oh, I'll use as much of it as I can. I've had these markers for like 3 years or something crazy, and this is the first marker to look this bad as far as it being dry. But it still kind of works if I go slow. It's just when I scribble, it doesn't want to show up very much. This looks terrible so far. I need to finish filling in all this space here so you guys get a clearer picture as to what it is I'm doing. Still got purple to add. Might need to grab a different blue. It's 2 a.m. You should be asleep. Yeah, you got to see the final result. As long as you don't have to work tomorrow morning, I don't feel too bad. You can stay up and see what the final drawing looks like. Alright, let's switch to purple, you know, a color that's gonna actually work, hopefully. Oh yeah, this is what I needed. That is a significant improvement in color quality. I'm gonna fill in this space up here with the purple. I like this purple a lot. Gotta stay in the lines here. Gonna have to use my super fine tip to do some of the coloring here. There we go. Best idea for markers right here, this third tip. Every time I have to use this, I wonder how any other marker could beat this marker with the ability of doing that. There we go. All right. Switch back now. I think it's safe to do that. Hold on, did I miss anything? I love the explanation of your United. It's actually a great idea. Well, thank you. Oh, work. The thing that should never be said on Sunday. Yeah, probably. I apologize for that. Of course, I guess I don't really feel much of a non-work day on most Sundays even, because not only for this month, but I try not to work on the weekend, but I mean, realistically, I almost always do something work related on the weekend. I'm never away from the office. That's the problem. I'm always, if I'm not working, specifically like recording a video or something, I'm always kind of planning the next video in some way or another, and I'm always in my studio doing something. It could very well almost always be art related or not, but I'm always here, so it's I'm never too far away from the office. Let's just put it that way. Makes it hard to ever really call a day off unless I'm physically out of the building. How do you balance out your week between work and days off? Very badly, that's how. Yeah, I try my best to not work on the weekends, but I often find myself doing work-related stuff, and I would say the way that I balanced it out before Inktober was that on Sundays I would go play Magic the Gathering tournaments, and that was something that was always really a good way to just find a reason to get out and not be surrounded by my electronics that always draw me into doing something work related. You know, sometimes you know, I call it work, but I mean, I do really enjoy what I do. Like I love being an artist and drawing and creating every day. So it, you know, sometimes I guess it has to be called work, but at the same time, you know, sometimes I'm just sitting here designing my next piece of work, or I'm working on ideas for my next course that I'm going to release, or something along those lines. So and in those cases, I'm usually having fun doing it, playing around in Photoshop or whatever, you know, trying to think up the next good idea. I'm always kind of working on something, and so I have to call it work because it pertains to what I do for a living, but in reality sometimes I'm just doing it because it's fun to do, because it is fun to do. I would say the things that I've kind of gotten bored of is the promotional side of what I have to do, like, you know, making typing up the YouTube tags or the video titles in the descriptions and all that stuff. That's the stuff that's not any fun. If I could just outsource that work to somebody else, that would be fantastic, because I don't think I'm very good at it anyway. Otherwise my channel would probably be growing a little bit better if I knew how to tag my videos wiser, to kind of fit into the YouTube audience. Although it's been working out okay for the past, I don't know, 8 months or so, and it's slowly but surely has gotten better. But it would be nice to finally get out of the 20s for my daily subscriptions, because that's where I've kind of been stuck at for like a year now, almost. It's about 20 subscribers a day, and so it's not ideal in the sense that that number should, you know, slowly grow exponentially almost. As my channel gets larger, I should have more and more people finding it. It's kind of how it works on YouTube, but it hasn't been working like that for me. Alright, I think I need another dark blue. So let me just grab this color. No, I don't like that color. I'm going to grab this color. Do a bit of blending, I think, between the blue and purple. Cover up that kind of crusty blue that I had. Sorry, I got lost in my own thoughts and talking to myself. What did I miss? What did I miss? How do I balance out work? I talked about that. You get points for trying to balance. Thank you. When you love what you do, it's hard to see it as work. Yeah, that's pretty much the way it goes. I mean, I could just kind of there's some days where I just don't want to draw at all. It doesn't feel like it happens too often anymore, especially with Inktober. But I think the days of where I don't want to sit here and record video, that's kind of the thing that's been slowing down a little bit in the past couple months or so. Do you have a video showing how you do the beginning design of your art in Photoshop? No, I do not. However, I had a few people interested in how I work in Photoshop, kind of my workflow, I guess you could say, in Photoshop. Over on Patreon, a few people were showing interest in that. So I'm currently in the process of building a photo reference for my next project that I'm going to do on Patreon, which is kind of a fantasy pastel piece. And I think what I'm going to do is maybe stream, it'd probably be a short stream of me working on it, because when I do anything digital in Photoshop, it's super hard for me to carry on a conversation and work with all the interface of Photoshop. I find it just to be a daunting task to do. Because when I'm working in Photoshop, I'm usually working quite quickly. I'm not really struggling to think about what I'm doing, but I have to find, you know, I need to click on the layer, I need to make sure I'm on the right layer, I need to, you know, choose the colors and the brush size and the type of brush and the way the brush lays down, and I you know, I have to do all these minor corrections and whatnot, and it just takes a lot of my conscious thought. So it's really hard for me to do. It's really hard for me to do a live stream of digital work. But I'm going to do probably a short live stream for Patreon on kind of how I work with my Photoshop images to do a bit of planning. But for the most part, it's fairly straightforward, and I do have kind of some insight, a video, which is how to color everything. And in that video, I show you, you know, a little bit of what I do in Photoshop before working on a drawing. Say for instance, I'm not going to be changing really anything for the drawing. Then you can watch that video and figure out, you know, some of my planning process in the sense of me choosing colors or finding the colors by making a color palette. I still do that for every drawing that I do. I always establish my color palette, and if you don't know, I have 5 color charts over here, and they're pretty much works of art in themselves. I love them, and anytime I get a new medium, I always make a color chart, so I never have to guess which color I need. I just look over and read it, and I'm like, oh, need that color. And it is extremely beneficial for your artwork. And if you don't make color charts, then you are missing out on a perfect tool for you to choose your colors. Let's see, what else is there? I think that it could go 2 ways depending on the personality, either work too much or not enough. I know I wouldn't have the discipline to work from home. Yeah, you do really have to be disciplined to make it as an independent artist. You know, you have to, the days that you don't want to go to work, you know, you don't want to do anything, you just want to sit around the house and watch Netflix or whatever, you have to push yourself, and that's something that I still, you know, sometimes struggle with a bit, where I need to get work done, but I lack the drive, the kind of the motivation that I really need. But then there's times where I put in so much work so fast. Like, for instance, my intro to colored pencil course that I did at the end of last month, I think I did so much editing, so much recording in just a week. I essentially did the course in like 6 days. Like, I shot the course, I edited the course, and I prepared all the files to be uploaded to my website and everything in like less than a week or something. And then of course I came across the hiccup of not being able to upload it, which drove me absolutely crazy. It took me a while to fix with my website supplier or whatever, Weebly. But yeah, discipline is an absolute must. Yeah, social media is hard. It's hard for me too, because I just don't like the feeling of being a part of something so so mainstream. I don't know why I have such a problem with that, but it just drives me a little crazy to be, you know, to be on Facebook, to be on Twitter. Just kind of like, I just don't like it. But I know that it's absolutely necessary, so I do it. But I don't really enjoy it all that much. Let's see, what else did you guys say here? How long have I been drawing? It's tough to say, because I haven't drawn my whole life from the day that I feel like I started. I would say that I started drawing when I was maybe 7 or 8. I'm trying to think of how old I was in the 1st grade, or better yet, the 2nd grade. I think that's better. So 7, 8. 7 and 8, somewhere around there. So 7 to 8. So I've been drawing for roughly 20 years, I guess you could say, but not consistently. I certainly was drawing all the way up through school, and then of course I joined the military, and I barely did any drawing for the first 2 years I was in the military, and then near the end I started, you know, doing a few sketches and some tattoo designs. Everybody in the Navy wants a tattoo, so I was drawing tattoo designs for people every once in a while. So yeah, and then of course after I got out of the Navy, and I was drawing and painting, and that's when I started my YouTube channel, and yeah, it's been history ever since. But I would say that between the 20 years or so that I've been drawing, there's probably maybe, I don't know, let's just say 20 years minus 2, given all the time that I wasn't drawing consistently. So we'll just say 18 years. I think that's a good safe number without too much exaggeration. And by drawing, I'm specifically saying that I was doing it with the intent of getting better. So when I was as young as 7, 8 years old or whatever, I was drawing with a very, very conscious intention of improving, which is different than, you know, a lot of children where, you know, they just draw because they're children and they have an active imagination. But I genuinely can remember practicing and trying to get better at drawing at that age. So I was a bit different than other children in that regard, I think. Alright, let's grab some more purple because we lost some of it here. Start this layering process. But good question. I don't get that question too often, but every once in a while somebody asks me how long I've been drawing. Alright, let's switch to this blue here. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? I'm trying to keep up with the chat, doing my best. Let's see. Let's see. Where was I? Okay, there we go. Can you record and later do a voiceover? Yes, I do all the time. Most of the time I'm not recording audio when I'm drawing and doing a video. Has anyone heard of this Slate tablet? You draw on it and make it digital and almost $200 whenever it's worth it. Never heard of it, sorry. Maybe you have a live stream that you call Fly on the Wall, where there's no expectations of interactions. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get it. You might have to go into a little bit more detail there for me, Kim, because I don't get it. Because I already have no expectations of interactions. So clarify that for me. Let's see. I love my Prismacolor pencils, but use Luminance White. Yeah, the Luminance White is a bit more opaque, and Luminance pencils are a bit higher quality anyway. Praying Santa brings you polychromos. Well, if you don't have Luminance yet, you better start praying that Santa brings you Luminance pencils, because I definitely suggest those ones over polychromos first. The only thing I don't enjoy on social media is that some of the people who are too social, shall we say. Yeah, you know, it's always kind of annoying when like random friends invite you to games you have no interest in playing. That's always kind of annoying. Or people add you to groups that you have no interest in being part of. I love the people that add you to groups. Like I have friends and family sometimes that add me to groups or events or pages or something that's related to a city that I am literally 5,000 miles away from. So it's like you know where I live. You know where I live, and you're inviting me to a group that meets in my hometown. It's like, come on now. You know where I live. Stop inviting me to places I can't be with people I don't know. You love my drawing? Well, it's not quite done yet, so be a little bit more patient, and I hope that you will like it even more once I'm done. Yes, I have watched so many. Prismas seem to be popular, but I think polychromos are a better pencil. Now, if you're referring to quality of pencil, I would say absolutely polychromos is a higher quality than Prismacolor, but you're comparing oil pencils to wax-based pencils, which I don't think is very well. It's not really comparable. With polychromos, you're going to get translucent colors. With Prismacolor, you're going to get opaque colors. So you just can't cover the paper up as well with the polychromos pencils as you can with the wax-based luminance or Prismacolor. If I always recommend Prismacolor first before getting polychromos, even though the Prismacolor is a lower quality pencil. And then I always would recommend getting luminance before getting polychromos. Polychromos, they're great pencils, they are, but I find them to be so much more useful over top of my wax-based pencils because of their translucency. It allows me to kind of glaze over my other colors by using the translucent properties of the pencil. Because I have my polychromos color chart right here next to me, and you know, I burnished it fully. My color chart is 100% burnished, so I know exactly what the polychromos colors look like when they're as close as possible to covering the paper. And I can still see white paper through them because they're so translucent. They're not opaque. So if you ever wanted to work on black paper, polychromos are just going to not work because they're not opaque enough to work on black paper. Whereas even the cheaper Prismacolors are going to work a lot better than the polychromos. Don't get me wrong, I like polychromos, I do. But in comparison to luminance, I would never ever trade my polychromos, or I would never trade my luminance pencils for polychromos. I just don't think that they compare in the colors. The other thing that I don't really like about the polychromos is the colors are so saturated. You don't have any of the desaturation colors that you get with Prismacolor and luminance. I wouldn't even try to do a portrait using only polychromos. That's something that I would always avoid as well, because you just don't have the color selection. They have 144 colors and they have no skin tone colors. They have like maybe 2, but even those 2 are I don't even really use in combination with my other pencils to do portraits. And any pencil set that has that strong of a limitation on their colors gets a lower grade in my book. I don't want to discourage you from getting the pencils you think you're going to like, but I'm just giving my opinion. You have to be, I have to make that very clear. You know, my opinion isn't fact, and I'm not trying to display it as that. This is just truly my honest opinion in regards to those pencils. But it's just my opinion based on my experience with using the polychromos. And I'm not hating on them. I like the pencils. I just think that luminance are a far better pencil. You said you joined the Army. Why did you decide to join? No, I didn't join the Army. I joined the Navy. Very, very big difference. I decided to join because where my life was headed in my hometown of New Philadelphia, Ohio, I had 0 prospects. I wasn't going to college because there was no way that I was ever going to afford it, or my family was going to afford it. So there was no jobs that I wanted to work in the area, and as much as I love my dad, I cannot work for my dad because nobody can work for my dad. That is just the truth there. You can ask anybody. Yeah, so I needed to do something, and the reason I joined the Navy is because the recruiter came to my school, talked to my class, and he talked about all the money that you could make, and I believed him. And if I could, I'd go back in time and smack him in the mouth for not being as supportive as he should have been. He should have given me better information because I knew absolutely nothing about the military. Just to put it into a quick synopsis of a story, so when I joined the military, I joined without a job, which is a terrible idea. But I also had a 75 on the ASVAB, which means I was qualified to do literally any job that I wanted to. And I had no idea what I was going to do in the military, and so I joined without a job, which was terrible. I ended up in deck department. I spent 2 years painting an aircraft carrier. Like, that's what I did. I painted an aircraft carrier. I mean, I also, you know, steered it around the water, but that's much more extravagant. It sounds much more extravagant than the job actually is. And I could have been a ton of other things that had like $50,000 sign-on bonuses, and just, you know, I could have done a job that when I got out of the military, I would have been able to get like a really nice job. I mean, everything worked out perfectly fine in the end. I'm here doing what I love anyway, so you know, I'll let it go. But that's just a brief story of everything that went down in the military. You know what? I decided I'm just going to color this in black. Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm just going to go black here. I'm going to do that real quick. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the chat. You guys are on a roll today with the questions. Let's see. I love the picture. Thank you. Speaking of Prismacolors, how do you preserve a drawing? Does the color fade after a while? And if so, is there a way to make it last? Well, of course, you can always seal your colored pencil work after you do it with you know, protective UV, you know, fade-proof sealant, you know, fixative. That's the word I'm looking for. You can always do that. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but I would say in most cases, unless you're literally showing your work outdoors for months at a time, your work's going to be pretty safe indoors, sprayed with fixative behind glass. And if you really care about it, you can even put it behind UV protective glass. But I can pretty much assure you that anything that you would draw with Prismacolor, as long as you're taking care of the work and you seal it, it's most likely going to outlive you. You know, you're not going to really notice any fading in your lifetime. But if you're hanging the work outdoors in direct sunlight, then I'm not too hopeful that it's going to last that long without fading. Let's see. Explaining why you choose whatever you use when you use it is very, very helpful, in contrast to folks who just list supplies and don't explain the why. Well, I'm glad that was helpful. You strongly disagree with polys on black paper. They're my favorite. And when I need something blinding white to highlight or something, I'd use a wax-based pencil. Oh, okay, well, Well, to be 100% truthful, I've never used polychromos on black paper. But I know what it looks like on white paper, and I've worked on black paper. And I know that it can be a struggle to get colors to show up properly on black paper, and I just can't imagine that me personally would really like to use polychromos on black paper. But if you like it, honestly, that's what matters, is you like it. My opinion on what pencils I find to be better, I cannot stress enough that it is just an opinion. It doesn't mean that the pencils are better. It just means that I like it better. And if you like polychromos better, then there's no argument. It's you like it better. I'm not trying to convince anybody that one pencil is better than the other. Just giving you my honest opinion about what I think of the pencils. So I don't want it to, to start a pencil war or anything. But yeah, if they look good on black paper, then they look good on black paper. But yeah, I guess I probably should have mentioned that I did not actually use polychromos on black paper. But from what I see, the way that they show up on white paper, and even brown paper, because I have used it on brown paper, they tend to be just more translucent, period. So luminants are expensive. Yes, absolutely. No doubt about that. Yeah, luminants are painful to buy. Prismacolor versus polychromos versus luminants. I see only one. Yeah. I like that I have all three sets because it's given me a lot of perspective over the years. Because I spent the first 2 years learning colored pencils using only exclusively the 72 set of Prismacolor, and I loved it. I still love the Prismacolor colors. They're always going to be, my first pencil love, I guess you could say. But once I got the luminance pencils, I was super excited to get those pencils and try them out. And there is a difference in quality, and it is a noticeable quality between those pencils. But now I use all three of them. I incorporate all three of them into my work now because just the subtle color differences among the collection of pencils is really great to have. Just makes finding that right color just a little bit easier. I really like to use the polychromos in combination with the wax-based pencils because of the way that it layers. And I also like to use the polychromos for those really fine, sharp details and clean lines. That's another really good benefit, is that the density of the polychromos is great for getting nice clean lines. Prismacolor and luminance both are just terrible at getting clean lines. You just can't do it. Everything's fuzzy and terrible looking when you're trying to get a nice smooth clean line. It just crumbles, I guess, too much. It falls into the cracks of the paper, and the polychromos shine in that regard. The polychromos actually blend out easier with less paint thinner or odorless mineral spirits. They blend out a lot easier than the wax base. I guess just because the oil binder holding the pigment together breaks down a bit easier with the odorless mineral spirits. So I don't know exactly, but they tend to feel like they blend a little bit easier than the wax base pencils. Let's see. If only one, I'd go with the luminance. If I only had one, if I could only choose one set of pencils, I'd choose the luminance. Probably because I lean more towards portraits. I really like portraits, and I just, gosh, the skin tones that I get with the luminance colors, it's just my favorite. Although the Prismacolor is really, really close to as well, because the Prismacolor has some really great skin tones also. It's a tough choice, to be honest with you. The full set of Prismacolors has some really lovely pinks. In particular, 927, the Prismacolor color 927 is such a lovely pink to add into the skin, because with the luminance colors, the skin tones tend to be a bit yellowish, and I use a lot of the 827 to bring back some of the pinks into the skin, but the 927 Prismacolor is just so perfect in combination with the more yellowed tones of the luminance. Alrighty then, so we are almost to the finish line of this drawing. I've been having a great conversation with all of you, though. It's been nice. It's been nice. Let's see. Yes, luminance over polys, in my opinion. Gotta make sure that's very clear. It doesn't make me right. Just my opinion. Oh, okay, so you also used the polychromos on black paper and you liked it? Well, then I'm going to have to go out and find some black paper. You use Prisma and poly? Yeah, that's a good combination. I like I said, I used Prismacolor for 2 years before I upgraded to luminance, and I just rebought the whole set of Prismacolor, and I love them. I love them. Oh, thank you, Grammy. I hope that I continue to inspire you and you continue to draw. It is actually a great topic we have here. We get to see the perspective of an artist and their artwork, including their opinions. We learn from each other. Yes, totally agree. I agree with everything you said about polys, except that I think they're great for grayscale work on black paper. Oh, you know what? They probably are. Yeah, for the monochromatic look, because of the density of the polychromos, I can imagine that they are much better for that that monochromatic look in grayscales, or even color scale, like a single color scale. Because of their density, you can kind of sketch them on a little bit more even than the wax base, because the wax base tend to clump up a little bit when you're trying to do a light layer, so you get much less pencil grain with the polychromos. So yeah, I have to agree with you on that one for sure. Oh, hello Ankush, I'm glad you're able to make it today. Yeah, buying all 3 sets, goodness, I think it took me like 4 years, something like that, to get all 3 sets. I spread it out quite a bit, that's for sure. Alright, now it's time to add some stars. this is the final thing that I'll be doing for this prompt today, is adding stars, because it's a galaxy scene that's happening here. I don't know if it was immediately noticeable until I started adding the stars. It just kind of looked like poorly blended colors of marker. I'm just going to keep tapping this pen for a little while. See, you guys have any other questions? Any ideas for tomorrow's prompt, which is found, I believe? Yes, I have tomorrow's prompt figured out, but you'll have to wait until tomorrow to see that. Wendy helped me come up with the idea, talking about pirates, and so I'm going to go with not something necessarily related to pirates, but usually associated with pirates, which pretty much gives that right away. What else? Yes, a space background. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's gonna look much better with the stars. The adding the stars and the speckles and stuff helps draw the eye away from the poorly blended markers. I've actually done a tutorial on using markers and colored pencils to create a galaxy scene. Incorporating colored pencils feels like too much of a cheating with InkTober, so I'm gonna not use that. Usually I like to use them to create a smoother blend between colors and also overall darken the image, but then I'd have to use something other than a white gel pen to create the stars, because they wouldn't stick to the colored pencils. I love this effect of creating kind of a galaxy scene. I will try to do a Hayao Miyazaki landscape for tomorrow. I want to see how much I can do with the landscape on ink. Well, that sounds like a fun idea. That sounds like a really fun idea. Alright, so just a few more stars left and that will be it for today's live stream. So I guess I'll thank you guys now while I'm still tapping away. It was super fun. I really enjoyed hanging out with everybody, and I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me as well and seeing me create this artwork. It felt a little bit slow, but I like the outcome. I'm gonna kind of create a sound wave a little bit coming through her head, or her hair right here, I guess. I think that adds just the right amount of detail to kind of draw your eye a little bit closer to her face. A little bit more on her lips and nose, and maybe a few more here. Not missing anywhere, am I? There we go. Yep, I think that's good. I think that's going to be it for today's prompt. zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the full thing. But I will have the finished picture over on Instagram and Facebook, of course. So if you don't follow me on Instagram and Facebook, make sure you click the relative links in the description because that's where they're at. And yeah, did I use a reference? I did use a reference, but I created this. I created this in Photoshop, so I only used the reference, you know, in regards to the pose of her wearing headphones. But yeah, so this is your favorite. So that's cool. I always like to create something that somebody regards as their favorite for Inktober. I was kind of worried since last week I drew a couple that ended up being quite a few of your favorites, and I was worried that I was too tired for the remainder of Inktober to draw anything that anybody would like. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed this piece here. It's been super fun, and yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Tomorrow's prompt being found. I hope that I find you here again tomorrow. And yeah, that's going to be it. You guys have a lovely rest of your weekend and a great Monday. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.